Hey everyone, welcome. Almost 3 years ago I made the switch from normal consumer graded Wi-Fi equipment to products from Ubiquiti. I bought an AP-AC-Lite access point and a edge router from them. The two access points you see in front of me, this is the AP-AC long range and this is the AP-AC mesh. And these two products are intended for use at my sister's house. They have terrible Wi-Fi with the router they got from their internet service provider. Terrible. They don't have internet access, Wi-Fi access in their backyard. So that's where this one comes in. This will take over the Wi-Fi in their home. And this one will have a wireless uplink with the long range in the backyard. So they have Wi-Fi coverage there as well. In this video I will show you how I run my UniFi setup myself, and we're going to configure these two. So yeah, let's get started with the specifications of these products. So why did I choose the long range instead of, for example, the Lite you see in the background? Because the Lite is 20 euros cheaper here in the Netherlands. Well, the Lite has a Wi-Fi coverage of up to 122 meters, as where the long range has a Wi-Fi coverage of up to 183 meters. But it also has higher 2.4 gigahertz speeds, up to 450 megabits a second, as where the AC Lite stops at 300 megabit a second. Furthermore, the long range has 3x3 MIMO, which stands for multiple input and multiple output, so simultaneous connections, as where the Lite only has 2x2. As for the 5 GHz band, it can reach speeds up to 867 megabit per second with a 2x2 MIMO configuration. And this is exactly the same as the AP-AC-Lite. As for power, it uses the PoE 802.3AF standard. An injector is included, but if you have a PoE capable switch, you can use that, of course. That's what we will use in this video for setting up both devices. And later on we will use the injectors on site at my sister's home. So for the second access point I chose this one. This is the UAP-AC-M, and the M stands for mesh, and this access point is capable for outdoor use. This access point is a little bit slower on the 2.4 gigahertz band with a maximum speed of up to 300 megabits per second. As for the 5 GHz band, it can reach up to 876 megabits per second. This one has 2x2 MIMO and also comes with a 802.3AF passive PoE injector. So that's for the access points. Of course, to get it all working nicely, you will have to set up the UniFi controller. You can do that in different ways. Maybe you have a cloud key or Gen 2 cloud key, even the newer ones. If you don't have that, well, you can install, for example, as you see in the background, a UniFi Docker on a Unraid configuration or on your NAS, or you can just download it from the Ubiquiti website and install it onto your PC. The drawback with that is that your PC will have to be powered on, the controller has to be open. So I chose for myself to install the UniFi controller as a Docker on my Unraid server. And yeah, I'm just going to show you how I did that. If you are running Unraid and you don't have the UniFi controller installed already, well, you can just install the Community Applications plugin. So just go to plugins, hit install plugin, paste the URL right here, and I will put a link in the video description for you as well. Install that. So when you have the community applications installed, you will get a nice tab called apps. So you just go to apps, then you type in UniFi, hit enter, and here you have it, UniFi controller. Just hit this download button. Go with the branch you want to go with. I'm going with default. Name, here you can set a name for your UniFi controller. Then we scroll down, network type bridge, so we'll set that one to host. We have a ports used for stun. I will get back to that in a bit, but it's on standard 3478. Ports used for controller and communications, port 8080. Ports used for controller GUI/API as seen in a web browser, that's on 8443. Ports used for HTTP portal redirection 8880. Ports used for HTTPS portal redirection 8843. And ports used for AP discovery 10001. Well, if you made your changes, just hit apply. And it will pull down the Docker image for you. And the command finished successfully. So then you can hit done. And if you go to Docker and you go to your UniFi controller, it's already started. Go to Web UI. We go to advanced. Proceed. Yes. And then you will be prompted with this screen. Name your controller. Now you can give it a name, UniFi Network. By selecting this, you are agreeing to the end user license agreement. Yes. Then we hit next.
username, fill in your username and password here. Once you're done, click next. I have two-step verification, so just have to do that. And once you have done that, okay, hit next. Automatically optimize my network. Yeah, you can do that. Enable auto backup. You can do that as well if you want. Next. You have no devices. That's fine. Just hit next. Wi-Fi name, you can set this up, but you don't have to. So for now, we just skip this. Review configuration. So once you've done that, just hit finish and you'll be set. It will now configure your newly created UniFi controller, and once this is done, you are good to go and prompted with this screen. Now, as you can see, it already goes to DR, which is my current site. It's our home network. And yeah, this is basically the landing page of where you left off. So here you can manage all your UniFi products, create new networks, do all sorts of configuration, and of course have a look at the statistics of all your networks and sites if you have multiple of them. So, if you want to be able to access this through the internet, you will have to open up some ports. The same goes for the access points you want to hook up to your controller. You will have to open up some ports for them as well. One is the inform port and the other one is the stun server port. Yeah, so this is on my edge router, and as you can see in the background, these are basically the two most important ports. These will have to be forwarded to your UniFi controller. Now, port 8080 is the default inform port. Let access points know on the controller that they are there, ready for adoption. You will have to forward that. It's on TCP. Put your IP address of your UniFi controller in there. The second one is port 3478, and this is the stun server port. Session traversal utilities for NAT. Yeah, it's a big mouthful, but it basically means that the devices will have to communicate with each other, and that goes through the stun server as well as for debugging purposes. So you have to forward that port as well. If you want to use the web UI from outside of your local network, you will have to add the port 8443 as well. This one is on TCP. And we can fill in the IP address, and you can call that UniFi Web UI, for example. Now, I don't use this. When I want to use this, I will just set up a VPN connection, and I can manage my Web UI on my UniFi controller that way. Now, I also have installed the UniFi app on my iPhone, so therefore I don't need a port 8443. When you're done, hit apply. Places for port forwarding, of course, will be different for every router. This is an edge router, so in my case, it will be different than in your case. Add the port forwarding rules. Without them, it doesn't work. So with that set up, you're basically done with the remote controller. You can log in from outside of your home network, and you can do the stuff we're about to do now. For the video, I will do most of the configuration through the web UI you see in the background now, but I will also turn off Wi-Fi on my iPhone, just set it on 4G, and you can see that it has an internet connection with my UniFi controller. And this is what I use most of the times when I'm not at home. So that works really well. So yeah, let's get started. You can see this is my access point, the AP-AC-Lite I was talking about at the beginning of this video. And this is the only access point we use in our home. In the shed I have a ingenious access point configured as a range extender because the light doesn't get all the way to the shed, and it's not the great of distance, but all the walls and etc. just are blocking the signal. So that's why I use another access point as well, but it's not from UniFi, and that's why it's not configured by the UniFi controller. Now, before we're going to create a new site, I'm just going to show you the basic configuration I did on my UniFi network. So we go to the bottom and we go to settings, and then we go to wireless networks, and you can see here I have two networks, DR guest and DR home, and DR guest is, as the name implies, the guest network for our friends, etc. And they will connect to the guest network, and my girlfriend and I are connected to the home network you see below that. But what you can see here is VLANs. I've configured them on VLANs, so I have a couple of VLANs on my edge router. So this is basically configured with some firewall rules. That means that VLAN 30 will have access to the internal network, but VLAN 40 will only have access to the internet. So you can't even get to the router's interface on VLAN 40. So it's only internet access. We're not configuring it like this for my sister's place, because the router they are using from their service provider doesn't support VLANs at all. So that's not going to work, but the UniFi controller has a solution for this. If you just hit edit on the guest network, we can simply set this option, apply guest policies. So it will do basically the same. They only have internet access and cannot access the internal network. So they can't mess with your smart home stuff. Yeah, true story. Really annoying. Friends can do that. So, okay. Yeah, as I mentioned before, I use VLANs, but we're going to do it differently on this site. So we're just going to create a new test site. Add new site. And the site name will be test site. And later on, I will reconfigure this and I will give it the actual name that they want. Same goes for the Wi-Fi. So test site, the new site was added successfully. Now I will just turn off the Wi-Fi of my iPhone. Yes, it goes on to 4G. Then we go to the UniFi network app. You can just download it from the App Store. Really simple. Available for Android as well. And it is connected. So you can already see I created the test site on the web UI, and it's already going to that on my iPhone as well. And on the top right, we can hit sites. I can hit the DR site, which is my home. Yeah. So we go to test site. Yes. So what we want to do now is do some basic settings. And test site, our country is the Netherlands. Europe, Amsterdam. Yes, like that. Okay. And now we have a couple of more settings. I'm not going through all of these settings, but if you would like to see a video specifically only on the UniFi controller, please let us know in the comment section. And yeah, well, maybe we can do a video about that as well. Could be interesting. Now we can also, on services, enable this, advanced features. And that can be helpful if we apply changes, yes. Now with these advanced settings we get options like this, band steering, airtime fairness. Now with band steering we can push clients to use 5G preferably, and with airtime fairness we can limit the amount of clients associated with a specific access point. Yeah, now only use settings like these if you have thoroughly tested it. Then we have provider capabilities. Well, this is theoretically values. It's not like my internet will be capped on 10 Mbit with a 1 Mbit upload, but I could fill in my internet connection details here. And it will be used on the site's display, on the overview. Theoretical value used to estimate internet capacity, for example on the dashboard. Yeah, so it will give you a better insight. So yeah, you can fill it out here. On their side, I believe the internet speed is like 50 Mbit download and 5 Mbit upload. Yeah, that's not all that great, but okay. For only internet, it's fine, I guess. If we want to use wireless uplink, it's enabled by default, enable wireless uplink. We need this to allow meshing with other access points, and that's what we want in our network, so that's what we're going to do. We leave it on default gateway. Automatic upgrades, I'm not going with this option for myself, it doesn't really matter, but if you get a firmware upgrade and something isn't working like it should, it will automatically install that firmware upgrade, and yeah, it can cause some problems. So I want to be in control of this, so I will not enable this feature. So then we come to the devices section. No devices found. Well, that's correct because I haven't connected them. So we're going downstairs to the pantry and we will connect these two to my PoE switch. And we're going to inform the devices to the controller. And yeah, let's do that. First access point, yes. Just get the network cable in the switch. And yeah, we'll just let it do its thing. So now it's powering up. And yeah, we're just going to do the same with the second access point. Where is it? Yeah. It's going to plug in the cable. Like that. Like that. And this one is starting up as well. So yeah, basically we're done here already. Now we can do the rest upstairs again. So back upstairs. Yeah, as you can see in the background, it's already recognized the two access points, the controller. So yeah, ready for adoption, but we're not going to adopt them right away. Normally, if you want to do this on site with a remote controller, you wouldn't see them in this list because they are on a different network, obviously. So therefore you will need to let these access points know where the controller is, and so they can communicate with each other. So yeah, therefore we go to the router. In this case it's still the edge router, and we go to services, and we know in my case it's on VLAN 20. But okay, we go to actions, view leases, and we can see these two devices. On the boxes the devices came in, the same MAC address is shown, so therefore you would know which device is which, because it doesn't have a host name. And on some cases it can be that there are more devices shown in this list that have no host name. So yeah, of course you could go with each one of them by IP address, but yeah, that's not efficient. Just look up the MAC addresses you see here, and you can see the IP address as well. So we're just gonna copy this IP address. We're gonna open up PuTTY, paste in the IP address, and we're gonna hit open. PuTTY security alert. Well, we want to connect. Login as UBNT, that's the default user, and the same goes for the password, UBNT as well. So now we are connected to the long range. So this will be the base station of our network. But we want this access point to connect over the internet to our controller. So we do this by typing the following command: set-inform space HTTP, not HTTPS, colon, // then the URL, colon, followed by port number, 8080 in our case, and then followed by /inform, and we're gonna hit enter. Adoption request sent to HTTP 8080/inform. Use the controller to complete the adopt process. So we're gonna do that, but first we're gonna do the same with the second access point, and then we're gonna pick them up at our controller. So we're gonna copy this IP address, open up a new PuTTY session, paste it in, open. Yes, we want to do that. Login as UBNT, password UBNT as well, enter. And now we're gonna type the same command as we did with the other one. So set-inform space HTTP colon / domain or IP address, colon 8080/inform, enter. Adoption request sent. Use the controller to complete the adopt process. Of course, it's just saying the same, but normally if it's on a different network, you will just see them as displayed here. And you can see it on the phone as well. If you go to this one, AP-AC mesh and AP-AC long range. So we're going to start with adopting the long range. So we click on it and we hit adopt and upgrade. This device will be upgraded. Okay, so the newer firmware will be installed as well. That's nice. Confirm. This will take some time. Yeah, we can do the same with the second one. Adopt and upgrade. Confirm. Okay. And you can see it on the iPhone as well. Adopting. Yes. Now we just have to wait till this process is done. And this can take from a few minutes. And I have also seen it to take up to, that was with the ACM Pro, and that one took literally 15 minutes. That was taking a really long time. Also with the startup, but okay. Yeah, we just have to wait. So I will check back with you once this is done. So if you're doing a layer 3 adoption and you use this command set-inform, so what we just used, just keep in mind that you will have to do it twice. First you will do the command and it is visible on the controller side, so you can start adopting it. And once the access point goes offline or it has a status of adopting, just issue the same command for the second time and it will permanently save the inform address and the device will start provisioning. Okay, so both access points are adopted, upgraded and provisioned. Now what I could have done better was create the wireless networks at first, and then I would save myself one provisioning. Yeah, because every change you make, obviously it has to provision itself with that information. So we go to settings and we go to wireless networks and we're going to create two networks. Yeah, a normal network and a guest network. So create new wireless network. Name will be test Wi-Fi. Enable this wireless network, yes please. We want safe security, personal, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Don't use this. And we're gonna hit save. Yeah, so we have one network now. So we're gonna create the second one and that will be test guest, and we leave this one open. No, maybe the neighbors will connect to it. Could be fun. Okay, so we go with apply guest policies, save, and I can show you the difference between the two. So we have those two now, and as you can see in the top right, it's provisioning right now. So if we go to devices, yeah, it's provisioning. This will not take that long, so yeah. Okay, so they both share the same Wi-Fi networks now, so they have the same settings. As you see in the background, I've generated a little bit of traffic on both of them. They're both working, so that's nice. But they don't have a wireless uplink, so we're going to configure that now. So wireless uplink needs to be enabled in the site configuration. So if we go to settings, and I will show you once more, enable wireless uplink. This needs to be enabled, otherwise this is not going to work. We have that, so that's nice. We can continue. We go to devices. So first we go to this access point. We click on it. We go to config. So let me minimize this. Then we click on radios. And here you can see allow meshing from other access points. For this access point, this has to be enabled. And it is enabled, so we're good with this one. Then if we move down, you can see wireless uplinks. This is not a setting that has to be enabled on the long range. So we leave this off. Then we go to our other access point, or mesh access point. And for this, yeah, let me minimize that. And we go to radios, allow meshing from other access points. This has to be disabled. And then we scroll down and we go to wireless uplinks, and this has to be enabled. And then we hit apply. Wireless uplinks changes were saved successfully. And now it's provisioning again, so that's good, that's fine. And it is done. Okay, and we can give them a name as well while we're at it. So while we're still on this access point, we go to general, and we can call this one backyard. Save. It's going to provisioning again. And we do the same for the long range. And we call this one main. Not mail, main. Save. So now we have main and backyard. Provisioning again. Now, you can imagine that if you just use the names that they come with, and you have a lot more access points than only these two, then yeah, at a glance you can see which access point is actually where. So now we have main, backyard. I think it's time for some testing. Now, of course, we could just manually tweak the settings if we want a better connection. For example, if you go to main and then we go to radios, we can choose the channel width. We can set the channel. Transmit power, you can set it from low to high or on auto. I leave it on auto, so I let it decide for itself. Yeah, but you could do that, and you can do the same for the 5 GHz band as well. What I'm going to do now is I'm disconnecting backyard for now. Then I'm going to test in the living room on my iPhone the speed of the main access point, the long range. After that, I go to the shed. I do a speed test without the backyard connected there. And after that, I will do another speed test with backyard connected and with a wireless uplink to our long range access point. So I'll be back in a bit. So I've did some testing, and yeah, let's dive straight into that. At first we only had the AP-AC long range connected. I disconnected the backyard, so the AP-AC mesh, and I must add that I have disabled 4G during these tests, so it couldn't accidentally hop over to a mobile connection and finish the speed test. So the speed test in the living room got us a 201 megabits per second download and 240 megabits per second upload. Really decent network speeds. Then I went to the backyard, to the shed. I ran the same test again, and yeah, results as to be expected. A download speed of 9.23 and a upload speed of 7.18. Then I connected backyard, the AP-AC mesh. First I made sure that the settings were still correct, and when I did that, and I would go to backyard and go to radio, meshing from other access point was enabled, so I disabled that again. And well, I did the speed test with the backyard connected, and you can already see it with the Wi-Fi signal strength and the speed as well. We got more than double the download speed, 22.1 megabits per second, and the upload speed, 28.8. Without any problems, you could just surf the internet with speeds like this. Yeah, YouTube, etc., not a problem. Now, it will just work fine. Now, of course, you can fine-tune these settings even more, but these are settings you will change on site because that's a different location than when you're doing the test setup at home, different environment. Yeah. And if you don't want to change it and you want to do it automatically, if you go to settings and then with the site settings, you scroll down, you can choose for auto optimize network and you can just let it do its magic. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I will fine tune it if needed on site at my sister's place. Yeah, that is basically what I wanted to show you today. Make your UniFi controller accessible from outside your home network. Create a site within that controller, adopt a couple of remote access points you can manage with your UniFi controller, set up a nice little network with this, and yeah, you're good to go. Now, if you want to see some more products like this from Ubiquiti or the UniFi controller even, yeah, please make sure you leave a comment in the comment section for that. For example, the last thing I wanted to show you, if we go to map here, and we click on topology and we go to floor plan, you can see we have no floor plan. But if I go to my own site, DR, you can see I've added a floor plan of our small house, dragged our AP-AC-Lite access point to our hallway. You can see it at a glance what you have configured on what specific floor, and that's especially useful if you have more access points. So yeah, if you want to see more of that stuff, please let us know in the comment section. Yeah, with that being said, I will leave the video at this. If you have some other comment suggestions, maybe some advice, you can leave them down in the comment section as well. Thank you all for watching and see you in the next one. Bye!